Some of the deepest exhaustion in life comes not from doing too much, but from trying to keep everything okay. If you're over 50, you may have noticed something quietly changing inside you. Life may look stable on the outside, but inside there's a tiredness you can't quite explain. Not panic, not despair, just a constant effort to hold things together. In this video, we won't talk about fixing your life. We won't chase happiness or promise permanent peace. Instead, we'll explore why the mind learns to feel unsafe, even when nothing seems wrong, and how, with quiet understanding, you can stop being pulled under by every change and begin to stand more steadily within it. If this feels close to your own experience, you are not alone. You're welcome to spend this time with me, slowly, gently, here on Son.Mindfulness. There's nothing you need to believe and nothing you need to change right now. Just listen and take what quietly helps. Part 1. The tiredness that has no name. There's a kind of tiredness that doesn't come from working too hard. It comes from something quieter, heavier. It comes from trying to keep everything okay, not perfect, just okay. I've met many people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who tell me the same thing in different words. They say, I don't know why I'm so exhausted. My life isn't even that bad. Maybe you felt this too. You wake up, you do what needs to be done. You show up for your family. You pay your bills. You keep your promises. You try not to complain. And yet, there's a quiet weariness sitting in your chest. Not dramatic, just constant. You've lived long enough to know something important. Life does not stay still. Health changes, relationships shift, people you love grow distant or leave this world entirely. The ground moves, even when you're standing still. And somewhere along the way, without realizing it, you began to brace yourself. You learn to stay alert, to manage, to hold things together. This is not weakness, this is survival. In Buddhist teaching, there is a simple idea called the second arrow. The first arrow is what happens to us. Illness, loss, aging, disappointment. No one escapes the first arrow. But the second arrow, that one is quieter. It's the tension we carry afterward, the replaying, the resisting, the constant effort to make sure it doesn't hurt again. We tell ourselves, if I stay in control, I'll be safe. Control becomes a reflex, a habit of the nervous system. Modern psychology tells us something very similar. When the brain experiences uncertainty, it learns to tighten, to monitor, to predict. At first, this keeps us alive. But over time, the body never rests. The mind never fully lands, and this is where the deep tiredness comes from. Not from the storm itself, but from standing rigid in the storm year after year. I want to be honest with you. This video will not teach you how to stop life from changing. It will not promise peace as a permanent condition. That would not be true, but it can offer something quieter and more reliable. A way to stop being pulled under by every wave. A way to soften the second arrow. A way to stand even when the ground moves. I'm not speaking as someone who has mastered this perfectly. I'm still learning, still forgetting, still returning. But I've seen this truth work in monks, in therapists, and in ordinary people who were simply tired of being exhausted. So before we go any further, I want to leave you with one gentle question to carry with you today. What are you still holding together that no longer needs your grip? You don't have to answer now, just notice what arises. Part 2. 10 Buddhist Teachings for Inner Stability. Let me begin this part with something many people find surprising. Most of the people who feel unsafe inside are not living in chaos. Their lives from the outside look fine. They have a home, some stability, routines that work, people who care about them. And yet, when they sit alone in the evening, their body doesn't soften, their breath stays shallow, their mind keeps scanning. If this sounds familiar, I want you to hear this clearly. There's nothing wrong with you. Lesson 1. Impermanence and neuroplasticity. Your brain is learning fear, not truth. In Buddhism, we often hear the word impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing lasts. But I don't want to say that to you as philosophy. I want to say it as psychology. Your brain is a learning organ. Every time something painful happened in your life, an illness, a loss, a betrayal, a sudden change, your nervous system took notes. Not in words, in sensations. It learned, be careful. It learned, stay alert. It learned, don't relax too much. Over time, this becomes a pattern. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. The brain reshapes itself around repeated experiences. So when you feel unsafe, even on calm days, it is not because danger is present. It is because your brain has practiced fear. I once spoke with a man in his 70s. He said, nothing bad is happening anymore, but my body doesn't believe it. That sentence stayed with me. Impermanence is not just about the world changing. It is about recognizing that this fearful wiring is also changeable, and that realization alone can be the first small relief. I leave you with this question. What if your unease is learned, not who you are? Lesson 2. Attachment and false safety. What we hold on to often holds us hostage. Now let's talk about attachment. Not in abstract terms. I want to talk about ordinary attachment. Holding on to a relationship that no longer feels alive. Because it gives you a sense of identity. Holding on to a role, the helper, the strong one, the reliable one, even when you're exhausted. Holding on to an image of yourself from 10 or 20 years ago and quietly grieving that it no longer fits. In Buddhism, attachment is not described as love. It is described as clinging. Clinging happens when something becomes your shelter. Psychology has another name for this: false safety. We cling not because it makes us happy, but because letting go feels like standing without a railing. I remember a woman who told me, if I stop being the one everyone depends on, I don't know who I'll be. That fear is very human. But here's the quiet truth. Anything you cling to for safety will eventually become a source of anxiety. Because deep down, you know it can change or disappear. Attachment is not the problem. image I return to again and again. The mind as a garden, not a battlefield, not a problem to solve. A garden. Every thought you repeat is a seed. Some seeds bring calm, some bring fear. Most of us never chose these seeds. They arrived through pain. Modern neuroscience agrees with this image more than you might expect. The brain strengthens the pathways it uses most often. So when you replay worries, regrets, self-criticism, you are not failing. You are practicing. The question is not, how do I stop thinking? That rarely works. A gentler question is, which thoughts am I feeding? I often suggest one very small practice. So small it almost feels pointless. Once a day, when a painful thought appears, just one, you don't fight it. You don't replace it. You simply say quietly, I don't have to believe this one. That's it. One thought, one moment. This is not positive thinking. It is interrupting training. Over time, the garden begins to change, not because you forced it, but because you stopped feeding certain roots. So I leave you with this today. Which thought do you practice most? Without realizing it. Lesson 5. The present moment. Your mind is rarely where your body is. Many people think mindfulness means becoming calm. It doesn't. Mindfulness means becoming here. If you have struggled with depression, your mind has learned to live in the past. If you have lived with anxiety, your mind has learned to live in the future. And if you are honest, your body is usually somewhere else entirely. Eating while worrying, walking while remembering, sitting while bracing. Your mind is rarely where your body is. This is not a flaw. It is a habit formed through pain. Suffering trains the mind to leave the moment, because the moment once hurt. But here's something quietly important. The present moment is the only place where your nervous system can rest. Not because everything is okay, but because nothing else is happening right now. Even one breath where you notice your feet on the ground, your back against the chair, your hands resting, that is not spiritual. That is biological safety. You don't need to stay there long, just long enough to remind your body that it has arrived. So I ask you gently, when was the last time your mind and body were in the same place? Lesson 6. Compassion and oxytocin. Forgiveness is not moral. It is medicinal. Let's talk about compassion, and let's remove the pressure immediately. Compassion is not being kind because you should. It is not excusing harm. It is not pretending something didn't hurt. From a biological perspective, compassion releases oxytocin, a hormone that tells the body you are safe enough to soften. Holding resentment keeps the stress response active. Not because you're bitter, but because your body believes the threat is still present. Forgiveness, in this sense, is not a gift to someone else. It is a signal to your nervous system that the danger has passed. I've worked with people who said, I don't want to forgive. And I always respect that. But I ask a different question. Do you want to keep carrying this in your body? Sometimes compassion begins very quietly, not toward others, but toward yourself. Toward the part of you that survived without knowing how else to cope. So I leave you with this reflection. What if forgiveness is not about letting go of the past, but about letting your body rest? Lesson 7. Full responsibility. Healing does not wait for permission. This lesson is delicate, so I want to speak it carefully. You were hurt without consent. You did not choose your losses. You did not invite your wounds. You did not design the pain that shaped you. And at the same time, healing does not wait for permission. No one else can step inside your nervous system and soften it for you. No one else can practice your thoughts. No one else can breathe your breath. This is not blame. This is power. Responsibility in Buddhism does not mean fault. It means responsibility, the ability to respond now. Even if the past was unfair, even if the pain was real. This is where transformation truly begins, not with fixing life, but with choosing how you meet it today. So I leave you with the question that matters most in this part of the journey. If healing no longer needed permission, what would you begin to do differently? You don't need to answer yet. Just let the question walk beside you. There comes a point in life when strength no longer looks like effort. It looks like balance. Not the balance of keeping everything under control, but the balance of no longer needing to lean so hard on anything. This is the quiet destination of the path we've been walking. Lesson 8. Gratitude. Training the mind to recognize enough. Gratitude is often misunderstood. Many people think it means forcing positivity, telling yourself to be thankful when you are tired, smiling through pain. That is not gratitude. True gratitude is a form of mental training. The human brain evolved to scan for what is missing, what is wrong, what could go wrong next. This kept us alive, but it rarely lets us rest. Gratitude gently retrains the brain to notice what is already here, not as denial but as grounding. A warm cup in your hands, a familiar chair, a breath that arrives without effort. I once spoke with an older man who said, "I don't feel happy, but I feel complete." That is gratitude. Not excitement, not optimism. A quiet recognition of enough. Neuroscience shows that regular gratitude shifts attention patterns. The brain begins to widen, to include safety alongside threat. You don't need a long list. You don't need gratitude journals if they feel heavy. Sometimes it is just this sentence at the end of the day: nothing else is required of me right now. So I leave you with this gentle reflection. What in your life is quietly sufficient, even if it isn't perfect? Lesson 9. When you change, the world changes. Perception shapes reality. There is a teaching in Buddhism that often confuses people. It says, when the mind changes, the world changes. This does not mean the world suddenly becomes easier. It means you meet it differently. Modern psychology calls this a perception shift. Two people can live the same event, the same illness, the same aging body, the same uncertainty, and experience entirely different worlds. Not because one is right, but because perception acts like a lens. Suffering trains the lens to narrow, to focus on threat, to anticipate loss. As the mind softens, the lens widens. You begin to notice choice where there once was only reaction, space where there once was urgency. I have seen people say, my life didn't change, but I no longer feel hunted by it. That is not small. This shift does not happen through force. It happens through repeated moments of presence, compassion, and honesty. Slowly, the world feels less like something you must survive, and more like something you can inhabit. So I ask you this quietly. If nothing outside changed, how might your experience change anyway? Lesson 10. Be a lamp unto yourself. A quiet, elder truth. There's a line attributed to the Buddha that becomes more meaningful with age. Be a lamp unto yourself. This is not a call to independence in the youthful sense. It is not about rejecting help or wisdom. It is about trust. Trusting that after all these years, after all you have endured, there's a steady light already inside you. Not bright, not loud, steady. At a certain stage of life, you realize no teacher can walk your final steps for you. No belief can replace your own seeing. And this is not lonely. It is dignified. Being a lamp unto yourself means you no longer chase certainty. You no longer borrow peace from conditions. You sit with what is. You respond from experience. You allow life to be unfinished. This kind of standing does not look heroic. It looks ordinary. Someone who listens more than explains. Someone who rests without guilt. Someone who no longer needs to prove they are okay. This is what it means to live without leaning, not because you are strong, but because you are no longer afraid of standing. So I leave you with the final question of this chapter. If you trusted your own inner light, What would you stop reaching for outside yourself? You don't need to answer. Just notice what grows quieter when the question is asked. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this time together, I want to say something very simple. It's possible that you are still in pain. Your body may still ache. Your memories may still visit you at night. Your life may not look the way you once hoped it would. And yet, something important may already be different. You may notice that you are no longer panicking inside the pain. You are no longer asking, "What's wrong with me?" You are no longer bracing for the next moment quite as tightly. There is space now. Not the kind that fixes everything, but the kind that lets you breathe. Many people spend the later years of life trying to improve themselves, to become calmer, wiser, more accepting. But there comes a moment when a deeper truth appears. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to outgrow your humanity. You don't need to erase your fear. You don't need to polish yourself into peace. What you are learning instead is how to stop fighting what is already here. There is a quiet maturity that arrives when we stop asking life to explain itself, when we stop demanding certainty, when we stop measuring ourselves against an idea of how things should be. This does not make life smaller. It makes it more honest. I've sat with many older people near the end of their journeys. Very few of them spoke about success. Almost none spoke about control. They spoke about presence, about moments when they finally allowed themselves to rest, about the relief of no longer pretending they were fine. That relief is not weakness. It is wisdom earned the slow way. If there is one thing I hope you take with you from this time together, it is this. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to carry tenderness alongside strength. You are allowed to stand without answers. You are allowed to meet each day as it comes, not as a test, but as an experience. Nothing has gone wrong because life still moves. Nothing is broken because you still feel. You are here, breathing, listening, and that is already enough. So I will leave you with a wish, not as a teaching, not as a belief, but as a human hope. May you stop fighting what is already here. May you trust the quiet strength that was never something you had to build. And may you allow yourself to rest right where you are. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take what serves you and leave the rest behind.